From the endless gloom of the sump seas and the toxic bad zones of the underhive, there are those hardy souls who venture further than most and return with spoils no sane scummer would risk their skin for. These are the Badzone Huntsmen, rugged bands of hunters, rangers and trappers who eke out a living on the razor's edge of Necromunda's most hostile frontier. The huntsmen march out from Kotton Town on expeditions across rafts of patchwork ferro wood, or vanish into the thick mists with nothing but their knives, snares and grit. They stalk all manner of sump-spawned horrors, ripperjacks, blind millersaws, glow spiders the size of hab stacks, and 100 other nameless things whose bones are older than the hive itself. What they cannot eat, they sell. Leathery hides, glittering spider eye lenses prized by gunsmiths, caustic venom sacs worth their weight in creds, and even bones ground down into fine chem bases for Escher chemists. Their structure is as rough-hewn as their trade. Rangers serve as leaders, grizzled veterans who have survived too many hunts to count, their bodies marked by acid scars, missing limbs and trophies fashioned from things best left unnamed. Wranglers come next, notorious for keeping packs of semi-tame wolf spiders as large as mastiffs, trained to flush prey from the undergrowth or drag down beasts too dangerous to face head-on. Trappers are the quietest of the breed, expert saboteurs and scavengers who lace paths with scrap snares, pitfall nets or pheromone lures concocted from sump fungus. Filling out their ranks are the common huntsmen, hard-bitten men and women who know the sump only by the glow of their lumens and the sound of their quarry in the dark. Though outsiders dismiss them as nothing more than sump scum and beast skinners, the Badzone Huntsmen are a brotherhood bound by blood and survival. They trade in dangerous goods and are some of the only groups said to regularly deal with the elusive rat skins and drink deep from the poisons they bottle. In fact, many bands of Badzone Huntsmen will often find a place for those ratskins who have become renegades, or badskins, who can offer invaluable knowledge of the untrodden paths and act as trackers and guides in exchange for a place to belong. The Badzone Huntsmen walk the underhive with the swagger of those who have seen things that would hollow out a lesser soul. Many believe their trade is cursed. Too many huntsmen vanish beneath the waters and black tunnels, or return changed, whispering of great shapes moving in the abyssal depths. Yet for every hunter who is lost, another is drawn to the lure of the sump, to chase its beasts and claim its riches. Howdy Hive Scum and welcome back. It's only 10 AM here on a Wednesday in Sydney and it's already about 35 degrees. I'm sweating my tits off here, but I thought I'd better get on and give you the second of my Kotton Town entertainment gangs. If you're a patron, you know about this, and if you watched the last video on my Bloom cult, hopefully you will have been looking forward to the next part. We're going to be talking today about the Badzone Huntsmen gangs in Necromunda. So these guys are one of my 3 custom gangs that I created for a community Necromunda document. I'm really happy with where I got to these, and I'd really like your general feedback on the design and some of the ideas that I've based these guys around. The Badzone Huntsmen are an interesting gang. They're unlike anything else. They're a little bit elite, but not really. They offer something different with the fact that they've got lots of access to beasts and pets in the form of wolf spiders, as well as just having some cool mechanics around traps and trapping. And they're just a really cool gang. I love the idea of these guys, and I'm pretty happy with how they turned out in the end. Again, if you'd like to check them out though, head to the Patreon, become a patron for the cost of a coffee per month to help support me, and you can download all of the rules, the lore, the scenarios, and the dramatis personae, including one of myself actually. My ego didn't have to include in there, but I'm really happy with that one as well. I even did the lore around it as well. But yeah, go check that out on Patreon if you're not already. Otherwise, stay tuned for the full rules for the Badzone Huntsmen parties in Necromunda. So in terms of gang composition, these guys are much the same as any other gang in Necromunda. They operate very similar in campaigns as well. They must have a leader, which is your ranger. You can have no more than 2 champions when you found the gang as well. And in terms of Dominion campaigns, they count as an Escher gang for boons. No special rules around post-battle actions or anything. They operate as normal and follow all of the normal rules you'd expect in gang composition from any of the house gangs. So let's look at the fighters here. The leader, you'll always need a leader in a gang, and in this case it is the indomitable Badzone Ranger. They are 115 credits and the stats are as follows. We have a movement 5 character here, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3+. They have strength and toughness 3, 2 wounds, initiative 3+, and 2 attacks. They also have mental stats of leadership leadership of 6+, a cool of 5+, a willpower of 5+, and intelligence 6+ as well. So pretty good mental stats and all round a pretty solid leader. I didn't want to create anything too powerful, but I just created a sort of fairly mediocre stat line for the leader. They're good at shooting, they're good at close combat, they're not particularly strong or tough, they still have 2 wounds, and they've got access to some really good equipment. Baked into the cost of the leader for 115 credits though, and you'll see this throughout the gang here, they do come equipped with a gutter forged cloak and filter plugs as well, and can take any weapons from the Badzone Hunter list here as well. Like many other leaders, these guys have the leading by example and gang fighter leader special rules. They have group activation too as well. They also have Badzone Strider, which is a special rule for the ranger here. This fighter can make a special 3+ unmodified save roll against any damage sustained as a result of any environmental hazard, i.e. damage not originating from an attack by any other fighter. So anything like falling or any other sort of bad zone hazard, if you're using the bad zone events and environments, anything like that, these guys get a 3+ invuln save too, which is pretty cool. When you hire this guy, you get a free primary skill here, and the skill sets you get access to in this case are leadership, survival, and cunning. Now you'll notice survival is a new skill set that I've created for this gang, and we'll talk about that soon, but leadership, survival, or cunning are the 3 primary skill sets on the leader here. For secondaries though, we get agility, shooting, and savant. No restrictions on the types of weapons and war gear that the leader can take from the Badzone Huntsman list as well. But overall, the Badzone Ranger is a really solid fighter. They can have heavy weapons. They've got really good access to a new skill set that I've created, which I think has got some pretty good ones in there. Again, nothing too powerful, but you'll see in a minute when we talk about them. But overall, the leader is a solid all-rounder and kind of what you need in this gang, really. Now for the champion. This guy is the Badzone Wrangler. They are 100 creds and you can only have 2 of them on gang creation. You can get more later on in a campaign though. These guys are really cool. I'm very happy with the design of these guys. In terms of their stats, they're a little bit different to the Ranger. They are faster. These guys have a movement of 6, weapon skill of 3+, but ballistic skill of 4+. So definitely more geared towards close combat. And you'll see why. They get a strength and toughness of 3, 2 wounds, initiative 3+, and 2 attacks as well. So 2 attacks is pretty nice. Leadership of 7+, cool of 6+, willpower and intelligence of 7+ as well. So pretty decent, better than average on the mental stats there. And these guys count as champions in terms of their group activation 1 and 6-inch leading by example there as well. Now, the Wrangler's real point and the reason why you're going to take these guys as your champions is that they may purchase up to 3 wolf spiders for 60 credits each. Wolf spiders we'll talk about in a minute, but they are a new and unique pet that you only get with the Badzone Huntsman here. Like any champion or leader, they get access to a free skill from their primary skill sets on creation, and their primaries here are survival and ferocity. Their secondaries are agility, savant, and cunning. Just like the rest of the gang, you'll see a theme here. We get the gutter forged cloak and the filter plugs for free, baked into the cost of the fighter. They also may take weapons and war gear from the Badzone list, except special and heavy weapons. So no special and heavy weapons on the champion, just close combat, basic, and pistols. So overall, the stats are okay for a champ. They're certainly not the best champ in the game, but again, the reason why I've sort of dumbed them down a tiny bit and made them quite expensive is because you get access to the wolf spiders. And you can have 3 of these things as well. We're going to talk about those shortly, but first we're going to talk about the Badzone Trapper. Now this guy is your prospect. He's 60 credits and he counts as a juve for a bunch of special rules as well. He's movement 5, he's weapon skill 4+ and ballistic skill 4+, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 2+, attacks 1, and his mental stats are leadership 8+, cool 7+, willpower 8+, and intelligence 7+ as well. So fairly smart, smarter than your average bear. Now the reason why you're going to take these guys is because they are snaresmen and they can set traps, which is a new sort of mechanic that I've created here, and I'm pretty happy with how this goes. Trappers may perform the following basic action. They can set snare, so they need to pass an initiative check. Note that their initiative is a 2+, so it's pretty good, to plant any type of snare. This can be represented by a suitable marker and is placed within 1 inch of the trapper. If the initiative test is failed, the action is unsuccessful and the fighter takes an immediate flesh wound. Once a snare is set, it is removed from the fighter's card from the remainder of the battle. Any fighter that is not a Badzone Huntsman may trigger a snare. Snares are triggered when a fighter moves within 3 inches of the snare marker. Immediately make an initiative test. If the test is passed, they avoid the snare, but if failed, they are hit by an attack with the following 3 characteristics. Now, there are 3 types of snares, and you can only lay them once each. The first one is the dart snare. This is a -2 AP scattershot and toxin attack. Pretty nasty, that one. We also have the sticky snare, which is probably my favorite here. This is strength 3, damage 1, and gunk is the trait. So it's pretty cool if you get gunked, and it can double up with blaze and things like that as well. We also have the blind snare as well, which is a flash blast 5 inches template as well, which can really ruin your day and take away your activations as well. But those are the 3 different snare types, and you can lay those all over the battlefield as much as you like, really, provided you pass that initiative test. Now, the Trapper, factored into his 60 credit cost, comes with the Infiltrate and Lie Low skills, which double up really well with the fact that you can set those snares. You may gain and expend XP as normal, in the same way as a Juve or a Prospect from any gang as well. Now, in terms of their primary access to skills, they get Survival and Savant, and they also get Cunning and Agility as secondaries as well. Like the other fighters in the gang, the Trapper comes built in with the Gutterforged Cloak and Filter Plugs, and has access to pistols, close combat, and other war gear from the Badzone Huntsman list. So no basic weapons, no special, no heavy, just pistols and close combat. Now for the ganger, the Badzone Huntsman. You can tell I live in Sydney because my house, I get 3 or 4 huntsmen every month in my house. Huntsmen are big, massive, scary spiders, and that's kind of a theme around this gang. I think I was actually creating this gang, writing the list for this gang one night when a giant one was on my ankle. So don't ever come to Australia. It's terrible. It's full of creatures that will kill you and scare the shit out of you. So the Badzone Huntsmen go off that theme. The ganger is 40 credits. So they're quite cheap. They're pretty good. Their movement 5, weapon skill and ballistic skill 4+, strength and toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 3+, so slightly higher than a Hive Scum, and attacks 1. In terms of the mental stats, the only thing differing from a Hive Scum here is they are cool 7+, so slightly cooler than a Hive Scum and slightly better initiative. They also come baked in with the Gutterforged Cloak and Filter Plugs, and that is why they are 40 credits. Now they have all the special rules around ganger types here as well, so half your gang's got to be made up of gangers and prospects. You also have primary, survival, and secondary savant as well. They have access to weapons and war gear from the Badzone Huntsman list that we'll go through in a minute as well, excluding special and heavy weapons. However, you can have one on gang creation as your specialist who can have special and heavy weapons. So there you go. The last piece in the puzzle, of course, is that wolf spider that I mentioned earlier. These are an exotic beast that are only available to the Badzone Huntsman champion, and they are 60 credits each. You can have up to 3 of them on each champion. So you could have 2 champions with 3 of these each. However, you know, it soon stacks up in cost. They are movement 8, so they're very, very fast. They are a huntsman. If you've been to Australia and you've encountered a huntsman spider, they are flipping rapid. They're impossible to catch, which is why I just kill them on sight. It's the only way to deal with them. Nuke the site from orbit. They are movement 8, so very, very, very fast. They come with weapon skill 4+, ballistic skill 6+, because they don't shoot anything. Their strength and toughness 3, their wounds 1, initiative 2+, and 2 attacks. They've also got a leadership 10+, cool 7+, willpower 9+, and intelligence 9+ as well. In terms of the special rules, these guys are on a long leash, so they must always remain within 12 inches of their owner, as opposed to the ordinary 3 or whatever inches it is for some of the other pets. These guys can stay within 12 inches. So they've got a very long range and they can really be sent out looking for targets to bring down. They also get the Rapid Predator special rule here. It means they get the Fearsome skill, they get the Clamber skill, and they also get Lightning Reflexes, which is one of the Escher exclusive finesse skills. I thought it really fitted in with the way that this spider operates. They also come with a Necrotic Bite built in. This is a -1 AP Radphage Strength 3 attack. And they also have a Chitinous Carapace, which counts as flak armor. In terms of skill axis, their primary is Agility and their secondary is Cunning, of course. And that is your Wolf Spider. I wanted to create a gang that was, you know, overall fairly mediocre in stats and stuff, but operates slightly differently with the fact that you get lots of access to pets, something that I really like in Necromunda, and something that I also feel just isn't quite good enough for most gangs. I don't feel like a lot of the pets are actually good enough. I think I've costed these guys quite well. 60 credits is a lot for a 1 wound piece. However, They're pretty scary. The movement 8, they've got 3 skills inbuilt and a nasty bite as well. I really like the wolf spider. I've, read about them in the lore of Necromunda, and they just sound really cool. These things are the size of Labradors or Rottweilers, and they're going to hurt you. And just really, really scary and creepy. Your leader is a jack of all trades. He can do all sorts of stuff, but then you've got this infiltrating prospect that can set traps everywhere while your wolf spiders are going all over the place. It's a really fun gang. I'm really proud of it, and I'd love to know what you think, actually. But let's talk about the equipment that these guys get access to and the new survival skills. Of 6 there are here. We're going to talk about those now. So the first survival skill is steady breath. So if a fighter with this skill takes an aim action, they get +2 to the hit roll instead of +1. Nice and simple. It's very good, and it replaces some gun scopes and things like that as well. The second one is Badzone Stealth. So a fighter with this skill gets a bonus to cover. Light cover becomes a -2 and heavy cover becomes a -3. However, it doesn't have anything like evade. So in the open, you're still in the open. It just means that cover is better, pretty much like a rattling. The next skill is Master Snaresman, and this is the one that you're going to want on your trappers. A fighter with this skill may re-roll the initiative check to set a snare once per turn. However, they must accept the result of the second dice roll. In addition, this fighter can never run out of snares. So you can set as many snares as you like, not just one of each in a game. You can set tons of them. So it's a really good skill should you get a skill on your trapper. The next one's quite fitting. This is Trophy Hunter, and if this fighter takes an enemy pet, brute, or any other type of non-humanoid creature out of action, they gain an additional D3 XP, and the gang gains D3 times 10 credits as well. Nice and simple, that one. The next one is Badzone Decoy. If this fighter is standing and active and is charged by an enemy fighter, this fighter may make an initiative test. If passed, they may immediately make a free simple move action wherever they want, provided they don't end within 1 inch of an enemy fighter. Pretty cool, even if the fighter has no ready marker and has activated already that turn as well. If the initiative test is failed, however, they stay where they are and nothing happens. I really like this skill. Slightly different to some of the other skills you get in Finesse as well, like Hit and Run or whatever it is. This one's pretty cool, Badzone Decoy. I definitely use this on my leader. The next one is Pathfinder as well. The fighter may ignore the effects of difficult terrain and move through barricades freely. In addition, any gap less than 3 inches wide can be crossed without the need for an initiative check. So it means that you can jump gaps a little bit easier and you can literally walk through barricades. Pretty cool, and I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. I don't think any of them are stupidly powerful, but they're pretty good. And I think, the fact that the general fighter profiles aren't too OP, I think the skills here are nice. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Lastly, we'll take a quick look at the Badzone Huntsmen equipment list here. For basic weapons, we get shotguns, throwing knives, bows, sawn-off shotguns, and the Krut long rifle available on your house list, as well as a las gun for 15 credits there as well. For pistols, we get the hand crossbow, the stub gun, the las pistol, the web pistol, and the needle pistol. Special weapons, we get the long rifle and the sniper rifle, which is normally only for enforcers. I thought it was quite fitting to include both options here. Of course, most of the time you're going to take the sniper rifle over the long rifle, but it is more expensive by 5 credits. We've got the long las as well, another sniping weapon, web guns for 125 credits, needle rifles for 40 credits, concussion carbines, which again are an enforcer weapon. I think giving them to these guys makes a bit of sense, and also the needle long rifle for 60 credits. Now, you might be asking, what's the needle long rifle? Well, the stats for the needle long rifle are actually on the House Catalus Dramatis Personae twins. Aramista or Arbalesta de Catalus has a needle long rifle, and the stats for that are there, so you go check that out if you haven't already, and that's 60 credits. So it is a needle rifle that has a much longer range on it. Only one heavy weapon available, and that is the harpoon launcher for 100 creds. Again, fitting for this gang, I think. Close combat weapons, we get the fighting knife, axe, maul, whip, stalking knife, which is available to nomads normally, shock stave, trident, which is again available to nomads as well, and the flinching knife and shock whip are available to these guys too. So some interesting close combat choices here as well. For grenades, we get access to stun, frag, smoke, crack, flash, scare, flares, and anti-plant grenades as well for those Bloom Cult gangs. For war gear, I've done some interesting things here. The blind snake pouch, which gives you basically the dodge skill, is 50 credits here, and you get access to that on all your fighters as well. Drop rigs, filter plugs, infrasight, photo goggles, gun shroud, telescopic sight, mono sight, respirator, Wealth Web Solvent, Medicaid Kit, Grapnel Launcher, and Drop Rig as well. So overall, I went for equipment and war gear that really did fit the fluff and narrative of this gang. Nothing high explosive, everything quite sneaky or snipey or webby or, you know, stuff that is going to catch beasts, basically. The harpoon launcher in there, the long rifles and so on and so forth, web guns, needles. I think those all fit with the sort of flavor of this gang pretty nicely. But overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. And again, if you want to get the full rules in a document, become a patron if you're not already, and you will have the PDF there for you. And I've included lots and lots of lore on these guys, as well as some dramatis personae and scenarios in there as well. But let me know what you think about these guys. Again, if you want to create your own models for these guys, you could use the Gaunt's Ghosts models, which I have used in my Lord of the Rings gang. I think those fit pretty nice because they've all got the cloaks on and stuff. You can convert them with a few weapon swaps and head swaps here and there. There are tons and tons of 40k models that you could use for these guys, but I'd love to see someone's conversions out there. Maybe later on in the year I'll do a competition where maybe you could kit bash your Badzone Huntsmen and Bloom Cult gangs, and the next gang we're going to be talking about in the next video next week, because I won't have time today, is Synapse Conclave. So stay tuned for that one. I hope you enjoyed this, and peace out.